We're about to have a nutrition segment, sorry about that. Yes, and with me is Oluwakemi Jeje. She is a nutritionist and the founder of Whole Eats and Community Pot, which is a wellness and nutrition initiative. And today we will be discussing something very interesting, childhood obesity and malnutrition.
Right. Good morning.
You're welcome. It's such a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Great.
Always.
Now let's just go right into it. Let's establish what obesity is.
Okay. Obesity is when a child is bigger than what their weight should be per their age. And the charts are all over the internet. You can just check. For a child that is 3-year-old, there is an ideal weight. And then there is even a range. So there's an ideal weight that is on the dot, and there is a range that is allowed because of genetic differences, environmental differences, how the child uses energy. But now, from outside of that range, you can say that child is overweight. But clearly, I mean, without using a scale or anything, you can tell a child that is underweight, especially when you can't find their necks anymore. That's like the extreme of a child being overweight.
Okay. Now, you said childhood obesity and malnutrition.
Right.
Is it possible? Because, I mean, I have my second born is quite chubby. And to be honest, we all love chubby children because they seem to be very healthy. You know, you want to wrap your arms around them because they feel like they're like, yeah. They're so, you know, chubby and, you know, so
adorable.
So adorable. Yes, they are
especially
adorable.
as babies.
As babies, right? And it's hard to, you know, put obesity and malnutrition in the same sentence. So how does that work? Is it possible for an obese child to be malnourished?
Absolutely. And in recent times, a global report that has been released is flashing a lot of light on that a lot of countries are now dealing with a double burden in malnutrition, where you have children that are malnourished and underweight because they are malnourished. But you also have children that are malnourished and are obese because they're malnourished. So now it's a double burden, and it's becoming easier to deal with children that are underweight and increasingly more difficult to deal with children that are obese as a result of malnutrition. And dealing with children that are obese as a result of malnutrition is more of a policy knowledge awareness challenge that now needs to kick into place. We find that our agricultural policies are not in line with our healthcare policies. People don't know that. I mean, I know Lagos State just recently launched a nutritional program, but if we're working with the agricultural sector, I don't know, to see that people begin to move away from, I mean, it's going to take time, probably a 5, 10-year program to begin to include other kinds of food in our staple. Other than the bread,
rice,
and the rice that we're all used to.
Yeah.
I mean, even our own local staples would do better. Our yam would do better than the bread. But how scalable are they so that they are available on the go?
So now, how do we incorporate all the diets in a very fun way for these kids, where that way, they are not lagging on any nutrient that their body needs to grow adequately? How do we incorporate this in a very fun and whimsical way for the kids?
Porridges is one way. I mean, if you're making, so by porridges, I mean you could make a corn-based meal, but in that you can incorporate a lot more into it from scratch and make it into a porridge that you can always make for them as breakfast. Do you understand what I mean? So in porridge, you can, in your own porridge, if you know what your child needs, for instance, you can add corn as the base generally for
like
porridges.
maize corn?
Yes.
Okay.
Not
the processed one. Not the corn.
No. So I'm talking about you making your own porridges now.
Okay.
And that's what people
kindly
call,
expatiate more on that when you say
that's what people
porridges.
now call Tom Brown.
Okay, someone watching right now is like, Tom Brown's? I don't understand that.
Okay, so it's a kind of meal where you have grains put together other than corn and made it into pap-like meals.
Oh, like millets?
Yeah, millets, granules. So there are a whole lot that you can play around. You can even start to introduce fruits into those and then have it served to the child topped with milk. So they don't really know what is there, but you have control of what's going into them from the scratch because you've designed that whole base, that whole mix from the scratch. But it's something that you've got to take time to plan. It's some kind of meal prepping as well for the children.
Now, let's talk about accessibility, because some of these, things that you have mentioned may not be easily accessible. So let's, give us ideas, on, easy, meal preps that we could just, easy meals that we could just, find around in just, so that way they're getting, a rich diet.
Right, so I won't say that accessibility is a problem yet in Nigeria or in Lagos. I mean, even where we are right now having this interview, we're very close to. Just even on the road, you find vegetables, you find sweet potatoes. I think it's a matter of planning more than accessibility. Okay. So, like what I just mentioned now, is something you probably need to do for a month, and then keep frozen. Have a variety of grain. Even your tiger nuts can be powdered and added to this, and it's really high in your folate and micronutrients.
Okay.
Right.
Now let's talk about malnutrition, right? How do I know if my child is malnourished?
Okay. So like I said, we're dealing with two leaves now. Clearly, a child that is nourished and therefore underweight as a result of malnutrition is weak. At the extreme end of it, they are skinny. You can see their bones, they're shorter than what their height should be like. They're slow, they fall sick all the time.
Often.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, on the other spectrum, it's eating hunger. You really can't tell. You have to be more deliberate because they have a lot of energy, they're bubbling. But then that's why we're seeing that people just come up and say, oh, my child just came down with this strange illness. And they're going from one diagnosis to another, because that child for many years have gone without major nutrients in their growth process, and it's just showing up. It doesn't really show up that quickly in obese children. So your first indicator is that this child is obese, stop it.
There are times where your child, just wants to eat everything. Is that a cause for concern?
No, it's being a child.
Oh, really?
Even as children, even as adults.
Because, I'm just, because you spoke about hidden hunger, and my mind just went, I'm like, oh, okay, so what if a child, just wants to eat everything, but they are not eating, the items or the food items that they are eating doesn't have the necessary nutrients that their body needs?
So they can want to, that's not the problem.
Okay.
So our job is to...
Caution.
Yes, train their palate, and this needs to be done a lot earlier. And even from pregnancy, because the things that you crave and eat begin to program the child's palate. So a child comes out and always craving sugar because that's what mommy was feeding me anyway. I'm used to this thing. Where's this thing? So they're used to it anyway. So, but it's our job to program their palate for a healthy life ahead of them.
Okay.
So they can want anything. That's just being a child. Okay. And it's okay to allow them have these things once in a while. We're not talking about starvation.
Okay.
But they have to be able to have their nutrients, basic, first of all.
Okay, I would like you to help me here because, I'm a mother and I have 2 kids, right? Part of my meal plan, part of my meal plan for the kids, right. They could have like mashed potatoes in the morning, have beans and pap in the afternoon.
Beautiful. And
have semo in the evening.
Beautiful.
I just want to be sure that I'm on the right track and like it has all of those nutrients that your bodies need.
Now you have very nice places where you can sneak in more nutrients. Your pap is a very, it's a bland food, but it's a background, what they call that thing, where you can just sneak in a lot of other nutrients.
Okay.
Also, your soups is also a place where you can load up nutrients. Play down, especially once you have a child that is obese, play down on the quantity of the swallow. Give them more soup. Train them to know that the soup is the main food.
Not the swallow.
Not the swallow.
Thank you so much. This has been quite an insightful conversation. I've taken it, I've learned, and I am going to, do more when it comes to nutrients that they need to be healthy and grow well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.